Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. Now, I just want to start off the new year with a topic that I have touched on a while ago, but it really is something that I really want to speak out on as of late, and it's something that I've only really made one video on a while ago, and I'll obviously link that in a card so that you can watch that old video and whatnot, if you care to. But it wasn't really in-depth enough for me, so I just kind of wanted to revisit this topic, so you can just call it, a revisit of the SJW culture being poured into comic books. Now, to let people know how I feel on this subject, I just want you all to know that, you're allowed to have whatever opinion you do desire if you want to be an SJW, or if you don't want to. You're allowed to have that opinion. But the same is true for other people, and I feel like a lot of SJWs get that part right where they can have that opinion, but then they get the part where others can have a different opinion wrong. Because the moment that someone has, a different opinion, the SJWs tend to claim that their beliefs are the truth, and if you dislike them, you're a bigot, and then the hate speech, and then you're every kind of phobe under the sun, But getting to the comics, targeting the culture of comics, I just want to touch on why the narrative, in my opinion, when it comes to SJW stuff and the SJW culture and the agenda, why I personally just feel that that doesn't work for comics. Now, the goal of a lot of SJWs is to redefine culture to fit the agenda that they so desire, being a more... I don't even know what you'd really want to define it as these days, because it's just kind of all over the place, so I'm not even really going to bother. But the problem with this is, when they start to redefine it and whatnot, they essentially, have to either, A, rewrite that, which they are not going to do, because we're talking about decades worth of comics here, or B, they just essentially... making everything that we know about the comic universe, whether it's Marvel or DC or whatever comic book you're reading, they make that null and void, and, that really tends to irritate people, because, for example, let's look at a character that a lot of people, including myself, I have no shame in saying this, really dislike what they have become. Captain Marvel of Marvel Comics. Now, Captain Marvel, Marvel has essentially made her, the ultimate feminist of the Marvel Universe. She is just the feminist of the Marvel Universe. She's not the only one, but she is essentially just propaganded as the ultimate feminist of the Marvel Universe. But they've also increased her power simply because of what message her character represents, being that she's a feminist and a strong woman character and whatnot. They've dramatically increased her power, for no reason and whatnot. In a recent comic, right, she's seen beating Thor, and decapitating him. Now, albeit that this is a clone of Thor, I believe, but it's still based on Thor and whatnot, and he's at least, I believe, as strong as base Thor. And base Thor fought Hulk for far longer than she's ever fought him in, recent comics. I don't know about now, if they've done anything when they made her, all feministy and whatnot. But, she got beaten by, one of the weaker versions of Hulk, if I'm not mistaken. She got bodied by one attack from Professor Hulk, which is not even the most powerful form of Hulk. And yet, she decapitates Thor, who has fought him for far longer than she's ever fought him. They've went back and forth in some instances. And, honestly, it wasn't even a challenge for her. She easily did it. You can see it in one of the panels. I'll try and find it and post a picture. She's just holding the head of this Thor, decapitated and whatnot. So what this implies is, once again, it erases what we know about the comic universe and how strong the characters are. And it's essentially saying that Captain Marvel, somehow she has gotten some exponential power increased, or she was always this strong. Which, if you've read Marvel for a while, you will know that that's just not the truth. She was never that powerful. So what it appears to be is the whole agenda thing, and it's oh, it's because she represents an agenda, like, the whole feminist and the whole strong female character and whatnot. And so, because of that, the writers tend to just make her absurdly more powerful and just erase what we currently know about the universe, whatever comic universe that is, in this case, Marvel. But allow me to talk about DC for a moment, because before anyone thinks, oh, it's just Marvel, oh no, buddy. It's DC as well. Like, they're not any better. Harley Quinn, for example, we're going to look at her. Back in the day, Harley Quinn was really interesting, right? It was almost as if she was another one of Joker's victims, where he wooed her over into, like, the realm of insanity and whatnot. But now it's like she's just getting the Captain Marvel treatment as of late. Like, for some reason, she has been seen to casually fight beings that are really powerful in the DC universe, and she's somehow, like, just able to at least injure them or knock them back with what? Like, her hammers, her guns, and whatnot? Or her powers of insanity. Like in a recent issue, I don't remember which, I think it's called Sanctuary or something. I'll try and find a panel if I can post it, but I might get copyright, so you might not even see panels. I hate to break it to you, but I might not be able to because I don't want to get copyrighted. But, like, in a recent issue, like, she's seen being able to injure consecutively, I might add, Booster Gold with her unbelievably OP power of insanity, even though she's still legit a human being. Which Booster Gold is, so I just want to let you know I do know what the characters are and whatnot. Now, that being said, he's not necessarily the most powerful character in DC, but nor is he, like, by any means the weakest. Like, I mean, sure, he doesn't really know anything too much about fighting and whatnot. Well, I shouldn't say that, because, like, he's changed over the years and whatnot, and she's somehow been able to injure him and whatnot consecutively because she's insane. Or is it also because she's a woman? I'm just saying. But here's the issue, folks. Like, this whole agenda thing is being projected and whatnot, and it just completely says F you about everything that we know about the character so far. You can't just give a character a power boost because of this whole agenda crap going on. Like, writers from Marvel and DC alike, like, let's just be real for a moment. Like, let's just be real and just say what everyone is thinking as of now, as a comic book fan. And if you do not say this as a comic book fan and you're just fine with this being represented, then, in my opinion, you're really not a comic book fan, because you are just fine with everything that we know about the comics and whatnot just being completely blown out of the water simply because all of a sudden they want to change how powerful a character is and they want to make a new character the spotlight and whatnot. And it's fine if you want to do that, but there's a better way to do it. So let me just say this real quick. Writers from Marvel and DC, I, as well as probably 90% of your fan base, do not read comics for a political agenda. Nor do I read comics for a character's sexual orientation. I don't care about that stuff, nor, as I just stated, 90% of the fan base, nor do they care about what a character's political opinion is or what a character's sexual orientation is. Perhaps some do care, but 90% of us do not care. Otherwise, in the comic boom just wouldn't have ever happened. Because the comic boom happened a few decades ago, and if we all read comics because of characters' political agenda and their sexual orientation, which was drastically, very censored back in the day because they really wanted comics to just be separate from, like, the main world and whatnot. Of course, there would be hints of political and whatnot stuff here and there, but it was nowhere near as open as it is now. But the point is that the whole comic boom would never have happened if people read comics for characters' opinions about politics and their sexual orientations. Like, I have had enough, and I'm certain that most comic book fans as well have just had quite enough of characters being strong simply because of their gender or because of their sexual orientation. A character should not just get more powerful because they're a woman or they're gay or they're freaking transgender. Like, that's not how that should work when it comes down to comics and whatnot. Like, if you want to make a character strong, here's what you should do instead of that. If you want a character to get powerful and you want them to get some spotlight, all you should really be doing is just giving them some new lore, or giving them a new form, or giving them some kind of new relic that increases their power or something. That's how you could easily justify, in that case, Harley Quinn somehow was able to consecutively damage boost her. Oh, maybe she had some mystical magic power bullcrap or something. At least we would have been able to buy that then, compared to that. Or you could say, oh, Captain Marvel got like some new and improved ion form, and that's how she was able to beat Thor or something, instead of just saying, oh no, just casual Captain Marvel gets to beat Thor. Of course, that's going to piss people off, because they know that that's absolute nonsense, unless you're just essentially throwing the fight to her because she's representing feminists. Now, this is honestly a better solution than to just randomly make a character more powerful. And if you all think I'm lying about this whole trend with the whole political thing and whatnot, yeah, I am not in the slightest. Like, the new Hulk, if you are following along, the Immortal Hulk. Now, most people are finding that interesting in the Marvel community and whatnot. But in a recent issue, like, he's essentially been seen representing a political spectrum. Hulk, the guy who just doesn't care about crap and he just wants to smash stuff, right? He's essentially being used to represent a political party. You know, like, that is insane. I never thought back in, like, my days of reading comics and whatnot, and what I've learned about, like, a character's life and whatnot, like, I would have never thought that they'd use Hulk as a guy to represent politics. You know, like, and that's just insane to me. So with that being said, that's going to bring this little video discussing narrative to a close. I hope that you all enjoyed. I know that, like, I've only really done comics of, like, essentially pretty much one time before. But I am really passionate about comics, and seeing, like, this whole SJW agenda just essentially ruin it for me is just, it's really infuriating, because I know what comics were, and what they're turning into now is just a microphone that a writer uses to express their own political opinions. And that's never what it should be. If you want to incorporate a bit of your political opinion in something, do it in a way that isn't just in your face. Like, hint it in there. You know, just make it subtext. But no, the main appeal, not main appeal, but the main microphone and the main idea of a lot of these stories is, my political opinion is that a woman is physically better than a man and all this stuff. And without getting on anyone's personal opinion, it's like, I'm not reading comics because of that. I don't care about what your opinion is. I'm reading it because I find the characters cool and what they do cool, not for what their opinion is. So, get it out of here. With that being said, that's it, and rate the video what you think it deserves. Tell me what you want to see in the future in the comments below. And just a quick update, I think I'm going to be posting my first ever podcast soon on BitChute, so just get ready for that. I don't know if it's going to be this week or next week, but I do promise you that it's probably going to be a podcast, maybe 30 to 40 minutes long. I don't really want to make it like hours long, because the upload time takes long enough as it is, so look forward to that. And I will see all of you in the next video. Take care.